Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Thank you for watching my videos. I'm here joined with Inti Campos.
Good morning, people. How are you today?
Today we're going to be doing it in my office because I decided to come into my office today. Normally I stay at home most of the time. This last little while I've been like 2 weeks in my house, haven't left. So this time I decided, you know what? It's time I come to the office, see what everybody's doing, make sure they're actually doing some work around here.
Dude, we missed you. We need a boss here. Come on.
Exactly. Because the mouse has been playing all this time. All right. Well, anyways, today we're going to be talking about Michael Saylor saying, you know what? This time is different for Bitcoin. You can forget all your models, forget all your beliefs that we're going to go through a bear market. This time, there is no bear market.
Okay, you will have to explain that to me because everyone says that every single cycle on every single asset.
Exactly.
So
He's slowly starting to convince me. I'm not 100% convinced yet, but slowly he's getting me convinced. And we're gonna talk a little bit about what he sees that's different this time that might actually prove to be true later down the line. But we're not there yet. Right, Bitcoin is still a volatile asset, and we're going to see what happens in the chart in the short term, and then talk about the long term in the rest of this video. Inti's joining here. We're doing this live in front of all my YouTube subscribers. Well, not YouTube, Pandora's Wallet subscribers. So they're watching it right now live, and to do so, if you want to do so, you have to purchase either the DJ15 token for like $10, 0.05, or purchase the Pandora's Wallet subscription, right, which is on sale only until the end of this week. So you might want to get in on that action before the sale ends this week. So make sure you do that. You can also purchase just the access to the stream. This is basically the same price, right? By heading over to DaVinciJ15.com as well. Okay, with that said, Inti's got a few words to say, right, Inti?
yes, as always, people, it's worth to remind you that this video is for entertainment purposes only, and this is not financial advice. Please do your own research before putting any of your hard-earned money on the market. Now let's see these charts, man. I'm excited.
All right. So yeah, remember, if you have any questions, right, leave them in the chat room. Inti's going to be checking to make sure that everybody's having fun in the chat room and looking for some questions. All right. Well, we've seen, Bitcoin exactly as we predicted, right? Hey, if we got a 4-hour close, that's it, right? We were going down, we headed down, and then we did a bounce, right? So I said yesterday, hey, listen, if you want out, if you held your short, your long, and you want out, and you missed this exit, the next exit was the 38.2, but if you blinked, you missed it. You missed it, and it went straight back down. Because I said in yesterday's show, this is most likely the target right down here where we bounce off of this trend line, and look at that, we're bouncing off the trend line. Unfortunately, we're not even like testing the 13 EMA, which is critical on the 4-hour here for us to turn bullish. Right now, we're still in a bearish sense. So don't be surprised if Bitcoin comes back and basically tests the trend line, or to see if it could hold. If it fails, right, we're going to be heading to the $50,000 level, $51,000 level, and maybe even test the 61.8, which you can see the 4-hour is the 4-hour 200 period moving average is also down here as well. So look for these things to play out, because it looks like that's what it wants to do. Okay. All right. Let me just clear up all my changes here, and I want to clear up all my crazy drawings. Right. There we go. So yeah, look out for that. The 200 period moving averages might be on the 4-hour, might be the target. As you can see, we've already done it. If we head over to Ethereum, we've already done that. On Ethereum, we've already touched the trend lines that I've drawn, and we've already touched the 200 period moving average. In fact, I opened up a long trade here. Unfortunately, I'm looking at this thing. Right? I was telling you yesterday, hey, you know what? The 4 hour looked juicy. So it looks like a bouncing point, and yeah, I decided to open up a trade there as well. Looking at where it's bouncing, I think I might have to close this thing because look at that, it's bouncing off of the 13 EMA. It doesn't want to hold above it for any amount of time, so that means we might have some more downside to go. Looking at the overall picture, you can see that the downside can be as far as the 61.8, but we could have a bounce, a little bit of a what's it called, a turbulence, or basically the market could chop around the 38.2 before we decide to continue, before we decide on a direction. So I would look for that before you make any kind of trade decision. Once it breaks, maybe we can purchase some at the 61.8 level. But then we've got a lot of wicks here. That my concern is that with all the wicks down here, the market does not like to just come back down to 61.8, let you bounce and let you go. I would say that no. All these wicks are juicy stop runs that the banksters would love to get a hold of, and there's a little bit of resistance down here. So right here at 78.6 is where you probably see the real bounce of Ethereum before we go to all-time highs. So watch for that in the next little while as Bitcoin decides to probably break down a little bit further before going higher. Of course, this Bitcoin could just go, yeah, this is Bitcoin and we're going higher, and same with Ethereum. Or even something crazier could happen. Ethereum could decouple from Bitcoin.
Decouple from Bitcoin. How could that happen? Because if you look at the chart, low time frame on these two assets for the last like 5 months or even further, it's been like exactly the same.
Exactly, and it's been that way for too long, and I wouldn't be surprised if something changes in the next little while, because we are in the alt season, and so it won't surprise me if all of a sudden Ethereum goes, yeah, I'm done with you, Bitcoin, off it goes, whilst Bitcoin continues on its downward trend. And then we'll see, let's just head over to, let's take a look at Bitcoin versus Ethereum. So there we go. We're creating the cheeky W that I was looking for on the 1 inch chart here on the real chart for the Bitcoin price value of Ethereum. You can see that we have, again, just like in the 1 inch chart, we've bounced off of key support here, and then we're also in a reload zone. So
it looks pretty.
Yes, exactly. It looks gorgeous.
Would you wait for the W to confirm?
You could either wait for the W to confirm, right? Because you can see that it's, I mean, come on, man, look at this beautifuln's, right? Or you can buy it here, which is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm gonna sell. I'm gonna explain something. I'm gonna sell off all my gold. I was holding a little bit. I'm probably gonna. I was holding a little bit just in case, but now, after listening to Michael Saylor, and we're going to get to that in a second, I feel that the need that I need to like sell off all my gold and just hold the silver. But anyways, we'll talk about that in a second. So as you can see, we've got a W here showing up, clear W. If this continues up higher, right, and breaks this level here, well, let me just put it right. This is the 35, what is it? 0.035 sats, we are off to the races, and this thing is going to probably move. Now, of course, if you're just trading this, right, you would just ignore the noise. You'd just take your profits. Maybe you'd just go to the 1-to-1 here, right, and then make sure that your stop loss is at the 2-to-1 at the breakout, and then take it up to your target, and maybe you let it ride for a little bit, right? You take half off the table, let it ride, move the rest of the stop loss, since we're in a bull market, and to see what happens with the rest of it. And that's okay, right? That's something you could do, right? And see what happens, right? I think that once it breaks out, I think this is gonna explode, because normally when Ethereum breaks, right? Let me just show you quickly what happens by going over to Bittrex, right? And show you exactly what happens on a weekly basis. You'll see that Bitcoin just like leaves the building. I mean, Ethereum leaves the building on a big way with weekly candles priced in Bitcoin, like massive weekly candles, massive, right? So we're probably going to see exactly that in the next
We're
little
not
while.
even near that.
Exactly, I know. We are just fueling up the rocket ship for Ethereum at this point. So at any moment, right, this thing, Ethereum will leave the building and not come back. All right. So make sure you have your Ethereum stacks fully loaded when that happens, because you don't want to wait for for the blast off, because you're just going to be like, should I buy? I don't know, it's too high. Should I buy? No, you don't want to be the one that's like wondering, should I buy? And now that it's too high. No, don't be that person. All right, with that said, I want you guys to head over to this channel, right? I'm going to leave a link in the description below, right? And listen to what Michael Saylor has to say. I think you should listen to everything. I started watching every single video that he's done lately, and I'm like in shock and awe at the level of intelligence and well read he is. It's pretty amazing. And in this video, he talks about how, all your models are just garbage, right? Because the reason why is because the Federal Reserve, right, before March of 2020, you were the inflation rate was around 6%. So if you were holding what's it called, the S&P 500 or something like that in the basket of currencies, you can outpace the level of inflation, right? However, now that they've increased the percentage of increase in the percentage of the currency debasement to 25%. What's happening is now all the corporations and stuff like that are just having basic cash flow, well enough cash flow, like his company. His company, what he mentions is that his company is considered garbage in the economic before Bitcoin, before he purchased Bitcoin, his company was considered garbage because it had $500 billion in cash on the balance sheet and $75 million in revenue, and that was called garbage and useless company, that it was going to fail.
It was called garbage because it didn't have any growth.
Exactly.
And
you needed growth of your capital, your cash, your inflow to offset
the monetary devaluation.
Monetary debasement. So what that showed me two things. One, it showed me that this guy was very smart and able to see what was going on. But also, what's going on is that also Wall Street is seeing what's going on, and it's clear to show that Wall Street is valuating companies correctly, even though it may not make sense to the average person. Why is this company garbage when it has $75 million in income and $500 million on the balance sheet? Most people would be like, I'm buying that company, that makes sense, right? But he's right. His company can't grow his capital. He can't use the capital to grow the company any further. His growth is leveled off, right? And he's only going to earn that 75 million, approximately, maybe a little bit more, increasing, not a whole lot, out into the future. And the reason why is because in most cases, right, Let's think about REITs, for example, right? You know what a REIT is, or a real estate trust is? Basically, what they have to do is they purchase real estate, they rent it out, and then receive an income, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that income is generally about 2 or 3%, right, on the actual capital that you put in, right? Well, that 2 or 3% is going to get wiped out in a very short amount of time, in approximately about 4 years or less, right? By cutting half of your capital, your base capital. So if you put in 100,000 onto your REIT, your base capital will be lost by 50% in 4 years based on the printing of the Federal Reserve. So it doesn't make sense, right? I've told people that in many meetings in my house where I meet with people who are real estate moguls and say, you know what, if you have any of your capital in a real estate, get it out. You're going to lose, right? You could borrow money and use that borrowed money, 100% borrowed money for real estate. That's fine because it's not your capital, right? And the rents that you receive, make sure the rents that you receive obviously pay the mortgage,
Of
right?
course.
And then you will receive a free house or free property because the monetary the basement is so rapid that within 4 years or less, that house is going to be free.
This didn't happen before 2020, did it?
No, no. That house will eventually be free because of the rapid monetary debasement. You understand? So
Yes. Two things that I need to point out. This rapid monetary debasement, 25% you said, was it before 2020 or is it this new?
this is new. This is new since the March of 2020. Basically, he points that out in many of his videos. Michael Saylor pointed this out, and this is why I'm starting to see his point of view, especially when you take a look at the chart of Bitcoin. If you look at the chart of Bitcoin, I'm going to bring it up in a second, but basically, I'm looking at it. If you look at it objectively, and as right, you would say based on if you ignore what's it called, the Federal Reserve, you looked at this chart objectively, you'd have to say that this is not sustainable. This is ridiculous. We've just gone weekly parabolic on 13 AMA. The last time we did something like that, we were like going to collapse shortly afterwards. Yeah, we're just beginning, right? So if that's the case, right, and we're just beginning, and we're already gone parabolic, you have to ask the question, why are we parabolic already? And yet we still have way more to go. It's because maybe Michael Saylor has a point. Maybe he has a point that this time it's over.
Now,
And so he also mentions that, you know what you could be saying, looking at this, right, is like somebody pushes you out of an airplane, right? And what you're seeing is that if you're so arrogant as to believing, well, no, I'm not falling, right? The mountain, as you see the mountain rise higher and higher, the mountain's rising too high at an unsustainable rate, right? It's gonna come back down, right? That's not true, right? That's not true. Any more true than, hey, the Federal Reserve is going to stop printing.
I mean, this is funny because you usually don't like fundamental analysis, but now your view for this movement of Bitcoin is 100% fundamentally because
Exactly.
you're literally saying that you don't have to look at the chart.
Exactly. That's what's happening, right? We're seeing, we have to, if we consider that fundamental issue that the Federal Reserve has agreed to print 25% of the total money supply, and if they continue on that track, it doesn't matter what your chart says. What matters is that you need to get out, because if you were to see the same kind of thing in Argentina, in Venezuela, right? You would definitely realize that, hey, you know what? You have to get into dollars, you have to get into gold, you have to move your money, your wealth. It doesn't matter if it's your stock, what stock you buy in Argentina or Venezuela, you would have lost, right? If you held stocks or what's it called? Or real estate, you would have lost,
Oof.
right? Yeah, you know, right?
Yeah, of course I know.
And so same with Venezuela. So don't hold these assets. Get into hard assets, things that you can sell right away. that you could liquidate into cash to buy whatever you want, or else you're going to be wiped out.
Now, think about this, because we talked about this in yesterday's video, right? If he's saying that his company, there's only millions, is going to be like out of the game in what, 4 years?
Yes.
Because of the monetary devaluation? Because it has a fixed income and no growth. What does it mean for the normal person with a fixed wedge that doesn't grow over time?
Yes, he also mentions that too.
Isn't that scary?
Exactly.
How long can you have like a decent wedge right now? How long can you sustain your life if this keeps going on, right?
Exactly.
What's going to happen? If everything starts rising?
Within 3 years, if you don't get a raise of 25% per year, you'll be wiped out. You lose 50% of your what's it called? Your income. Even though you won't feel it, you'll have the same number, nominal number. Everything will increase by 50%, by 100% in the next 3 years, and then you'll notice that you won't be able to afford things as you used to. So there are going to be a lot of civil unrest in the next little while.
And even worse, because you say, okay, you know what? I may be able to survive. I can pull something off, whatever, right? I can make my own business. Okay, but what happened to your savings? How long have you been saving dollars in the bank in order to buy the house of your dreams, right? Pay for the kids, college, your retirement. What's going to happen to all that? Where are you putting all that effort? Into dollars?
Exactly. It doesn't make any sense.
And you see this storm coming to destroy that. Doesn't look like a good idea.
Well, anyways, we're gonna have to end it here because, man, oh my God, this is why I'm starting to like lean to the side that maybe this time is different. But you know what? As long as you realize that Bitcoin's real, Bitcoin's here to stay, you're gonna be all right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye,
Cheers.
people.